when you're delivering IT, you're delivering, first of all, how do you manage, control, protect, secure the data, make sure it's compliant. That's what the data fabric's about. And it's not about just doing it in the data center. It's about extending that capability across all of the public clouds consistently, so that you don't have to create silos of data management every time, and also open yourself to risk and to gaps and to things that have been forgotten. Then when you couple that, I think, with the network layer from the likes of Equinix in terms of accessibility, you then get into this idea of, and I think we've talked about it in the past, about creating a cloud fabric, which is really pulling together the components of data, the data layer, the connectivity layer, to then provide that data service that can be consumed by applications and by the business. So yeah, the data fabric, as we talk about it, is all the things you would look at from an enterprise perspective around data management, business continuity, disaster recovery, security, protection, etc., but extending that across the public clouds as well. And that's what we really mean, doing that consistently, breaking down those management silos and reducing the cost as well, because that's, as you push to the cloud, that can be one of the biggest factors that people have, struggle with.
Right, exactly. So independent of what cloud, what hardware, on-prem data center, you have one data fabric in that case. But with Equinix as the connectivity provider, tell me more about that, Henrik.
Yeah, sure. So if I go back a little bit and looking at knowing where your data is and all that, and referring to a lot of the conversations I had is and trying to understand why is it such a fragmented approach to using clouds in enterprises today. And I think that goes back to the early cloud strategy, which basically just stated cloud first in a very simple way. So basically just means that as long as you put in the cloud, you don't need to have this very difficult approval processes. So you have one department who puts it in, I don't know, AWS Ireland. Next team, they're using Azure in Amsterdam, and then they're using a database of Oracle Frankfurt. And we have a new team that, we have Google now, if you're from a Nordic perspective, in Hamina, Finland, that's closest to us, so we want to be there. And now you start to look at it, we could actually join a lot of these projects. We can benefit, we get leverage on the best of breed cloud applications that we have, until you try to connect all these, which is across Europe. And now all of a sudden you have a bit of a challenge there. And so what we try to do from Equinix point of view, we have something we term as the interconnection oriented architecture. So rather than throwing network at it to connect things, since we have the clouds in our data center, they have the edge nodes in our data centers, that's kind of like the on-ramp points for it. So you can interconnect directly into them, and you get a lot more efficient networking and simpler networking between clouds. You just need to have a control point in the middle. However, if you have distributed your clouds across Europe, well, you still have a distance issue there and you won't get the latency down. So you have to have a plan on how you're going to use the clouds, where you're going to use it. We can still provide you an environment where you know exactly what your latency is from your control point to Ireland, to Amsterdam, to Hamina. But that's only how far you can optimize it. From there, you have to start to look at moving loads next to each other if you want to have this really ultra low latency between applications.